If there is a constant in life, it is that time never stops and the world never stops changing. Sometimes change comes gradually. Sometimes it comes in the blink of an eye. One moment it's a day like any other. Then an electrical wire short circuits and a holiday weekend at the MGM Grand becomes a fiery nightmare.
I still felt during the middle of this fire, this couldn't happen to me.
We were at the mercy of others to save us.
A passenger train called the Supercontinental travels eastward near a town called Hinton until it turns into a tombstone of twisted metal under a cold Canadian sky.
Black smoke rose in the air. It was like the tide coming in. All hell was let loose. It was all things coming towards us. Grain cars, locomotives, everything was.
There were still two people burning in the window. They seemed to be hugging each other.
And a ship named the Estonia heads out of port on just another scheduled run that ends at the bottom of the icy waters of the Baltic Sea.
When I was walking, I looked at the moon and I told myself that tonight I'm not going to die.
There are those among us who were there. Why did they live when others did not? And how were they changed at that moment when they became survivors? Las Vegas, Nevada. Glitz, glitter, and flashing neon. A city built for play with some of the biggest hotels and casinos in the world. One of the largest and most luxurious is the MGM Grand, complete with thousands of rooms and one of the largest gambling halls in the world. In 1980, the MGM Grand was just as luxurious. And on the evening of November 20th, Ron and Sandy Underwood arrive for a weekend stay. Both are 27 years old. Ron is a young director of short films. In the next decade, he will direct such box office hits as Tremors and City Slickers. For now, he is fresh out of school and entered in a Las Vegas Film Festival.
We were excited to be going off to Las Vegas for a little weekend away from our child, and Sandy was pregnant with our second child.
The opulence of the hotel was really amazing, and for a young couple that was a real treat to be able to go spend some time alone together.
Employees of Printronix are looking forward to the weekend too. The computer printer company in Irvine, California is finally hitting its stride. Members of its national sales staff have been in Vegas for most of the week, attending a computer trade show at the MGM Grand. On the evening of November 20th, some of the Printronix group go to a late show starring Mac Davis, then visit the hotel's lavish casino. Downstairs, Ron and Sandy Underwood have a late supper in the hotel's ground floor delicatessen. They are both exhausted, and after their meal, they go to their room on the 22nd floor.
It was such a long walk through this tomb of the MGM Grand Hotel, and we finally got to our room and we said, well, at least we're next to the fire escape.
Not long after the Underwoods leave the delicatessen, an electrical wire short circuits in the wall above the kitchen. While hotel guests play the slots in the casino or sleep in their beds upstairs, a small fire smolders unnoticed inside the wall and ceiling cavity.
Ron and I were asleep, as most people are, at 7 in the morning in Las Vegas. I was awoken by the sound of fire engines.
And I looked down at the casino roof, and all of the roof vents were spewing out black smoke.
I remember him standing at the window and he was yelling to me to wake up. We have to get out of the hotel. The hotel is on fire. And I took a deep whiff and I could smell the smoke.
So I opened the door, and that's when I discovered that the hall was totally smoke-filled. very quietly, he said, "I'm not sure, Alfreda, but I think the hotel is on fire. We'd better get out."
The fire had burned inside the kitchen wall for hours. Just after 7 in the morning, it bursts through, chasing staff and breakfast customers out of the deli. Within minutes, flames are racing through the 50,000 square foot casino next door, traveling at 17 feet per second, hungrily consuming everything in its path. 12 people are burned instantly beyond recognition. Just 4 minutes after it leaves the deli, the fire hits the front doors of the hotel lobby and blows out the glass. Firefighters keep the fire to the first few levels, but not before it takes out the telephone switchboard and alarm system. But it's the smoke that is the most deadly enemy. Most of the casino furnishings and decorations are made of plastic, and as they burn, poisonous gases mix with thick black clouds that funnel up elevator shafts, stairwells, and air conditioning ducts like they were chimneys.
Nothing was happening in the hotel, no alarms, no nothing. That was very quiet, very peaceful. But outside was a lot of noise.
We went right for the stairwell, opened the door, and there was a wall of smoke right there. And we stopped cold and thought, oh my God, the fire exits are filled with smoke.
With their first means of escape now jeopardized by thick toxic smoke, hotel guests are left with a critical choice.
At that point, I wanted to go up.
I guess I became obstinate and I said, "Let's go down."
But my wife insisted that she'd rather get her feet on terra firma.
So we went down. Mel was in front. I had a hand on his shoulder because the smoke in the stairwell was very, very thick. We didn't know where we were going.
That really saved our lives that there was the smoke there already, because those who went in just a few minutes earlier into the fire well when there wasn't smoke up at that level got trapped in the stairwells. The doors all self-locked behind them and they couldn't get out.
The smoke sends Ron and Sandy Underwood away from the stairwell down the pitch black hallway of the 20th floor.
It really was a frightening experience because we could hear each other and we were yelling to one another, "Sandy, Sandy, where are you?"
The smell of the smoke I can still remember was just an acrid, horrible, chemical smell.
We really were trying to protect the fetus of our daughter to come.
I knew that I couldn't keep breathing that air.
So we ran into the first open door.
In room 1675, Ralph Patino and his wife Luz are forced onto their balcony to escape the smoke-suffocating stranglehold.
But that was also dangerous because there was a lot of glass coming from the top floors, people that were breaking the windows.
People were panicking in their rooms. They couldn't open the windows, so they would just start throwing couches and tables and all kinds of chairs. I think that actually more firemen were injured by falling glass and furniture than anything else.
Helicopters from nearby Nellis Air Force Base lift hundreds of guests from the roof, but they cannot reach the people still in their rooms. One helicopter circles the building several times, announcing over a loudspeaker that the fire is under control, urging guests to stay calm and stay put. One couple climbs down from the 11th floor on rope found on scaffolding next to their window. A woman on the 19th floor tries to climb down a rope made from bed sheets. She gets as far as the 17th before she falls.
We witnessed one person who jumped out to grab onto these cables that were holding the scaffolding, and he just fell at such an incredible rate to his death.
I did see a woman fall to her death, and I saw her hit the pavement, and I remember thinking it was like a doll. A rag doll.
It has been 2 long hours since fire burst from the MGM Grand. For many of the guests, like Ralph Patino, hope begins to fade as the death toll mounts.
We were thinking that we were not going to escape, and one of the things that I was realizing was that we were too high, 16 floors. No ladder is going to reach that high.
Several times we all went out on the balcony and screamed and yelled for help so that they would know that there were people in this room.
It felt like the entire world was staring at us from the sidewalks below.
And I think everybody in the room started to really get pretty quiet because we were helpless. We were at the mercy of others to save us.
Nearly 3 hours since they first realized that the hotel was on fire, Mel and Alfredo Posen have climbed down 19 flights of stairs, catching small snatches of air from vents along the way.
The door that was at the end of the staircase led into the casino, and there were many bodies down at the bottom of the staircase of the people that tried to go out that way.
Mel and Alfredo begin to lose hope as deadly smoke begins to overtake them.
When we got to the second floor, suddenly a light appeared.
And we were fortunate enough to see 3 beautiful firemen in yellow outfits.
By 10 a.m., firefighters cut through a cement wall in the stairwell, rescuing those trapped inside, as well as guests from upper floors who could not be reached through windows or balconies. Investigators call the MGM Grand a disaster waiting to happen. Rooms without smoke detectors or sprinkler systems, poorly designed stairwells and elevator shafts that suck deadly smoke into fire escapes. 83 people die that day, and 2 more die later in the hospital. It is the second most deadly fire in American history. After another fire kills 8 people at the Las Vegas Hilton only 3 months later, the state of Nevada passes a new fire code law in 1981. It requires smoke detectors in all rooms and elevators, and smoke detecting sensors in air conditioning ducts. But laws and modifications can never erase the memories burned into the minds of the people that were there, November 21st, 1981.
You know, it becomes part of your history. It becomes part of who you are, what you've gone through, which none of us can ever deny.
It's really important to give yourself credit if you've survived something as traumatic as this, that you did make the right decisions and move on. It was a life-changing experience.